up, everybody? My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful evening. Hope everyone had a wonderful Easter. Excuse me. My girls and I had a pretty good day. We went to Cracker Barrel and ate, and then we took my daughter to Little Rock to a concert and dropped her off, and my oldest daughter is going to be going and picking her up here in a little while. And I just wanted to come on and chat a little while. Haven't been on because my youngest daughter's here in town, here at home for a week. And so we've just been busy doing family stuff and whatnot. So, excuse me. I am so sorry. And choked. So there is so much going on right now in the world of true crime and in the world period. It just seems like everybody has lost their freaking minds. Every day you wake up to some crazy shenanigans. And so there's this big lawsuit going on with my favorite band in the whole wide world, Motley Crue. Mick Mars left the band. Sorry. Mick Mars left the band during this whole big stadium tour that we've waited 2 years or more now after COVID hit to finally get it on the road. And it's been nothing but a disaster from the very beginning, actually. From the time they went on the road, finally got on the road with the stadium tour, Tommy Lee broke his ribs. Vince was coming off the road from his solo tour, and he was getting really bad reviews. And, like, I've been worried about Vince since the band was supposed to have ended, okay? I've been concerned about Vince Neil and his health. And but anyway, Mick Mars, the lead guitarist of Motley Crue, left the band during this big stadium tour, just up and decided to retire, and now they're in a bunch of big lawsuits with each other. And Mick is suing the band, they're countersuing. My favorite guys in the world cannot be fighting. It's nuts. Also, while I'm choking to death, there's a big ordeal going on right now with, and I really hate to even give this person a thought, but it's just all in your face and it's all in the news. Okay, Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney is a transgender, a supposed transgender. Now, before you all go getting offended by that, let me explain. Dylan Mulvaney is in this 365 days of girlhood. Was a depressed young man, failing actor, whatever. Decides, hey, I think I want to be a woman. So decides to go through some semi sort of transition. And now y'all gonna have to excuse me for just a minute. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Nothing like starting a podcast with a bunch of choking. Anyway, Dylan Mulvaney has got the whole world in an uproar right now. Dylan Mulvaney is an alleged transgender who went from a depressed young man, failing actor, to, hey, I think I want to be a woman. So celebrating 365 days of girlhood, Dylan Mulvaney is getting a bunch of endorsements. He's getting endorsements from Nike, from Bud Light, and it's got not only the whole world in an uproar, it's even got the LGBTQ world in an uproar. And a lot of authentic transgenders are speaking out about it. Caitlyn Jenner is been going on about it, and Blair White, and just a lot of talk. But Bud Light really screwed up. I have to say, they really screwed up in this whole quest to be overwoke and cater, to the transgender community and, be fair and all this. They decided to put Dylan Mulvaney's face on a Bud Light can. Now, how many of y'all really think that Dylan Mulvaney has even ever picked up a can of Bud Light, much less drank anything from Anheuser-Busch? And they want to go on and support this crazy nut? I am not. Let me be clear. I am in no way trying to insult Dylan Mulvaney. No, and I'm especially not trying to insult transgenders. True, authentic transgenders. I think this is nothing but an elaborate Broadway act. Like, Dylan Mulvaney is an actor. And was apparently depressed and, just up and decides to just transition in 1 year, and everybody's just catering to it. And it's silly. But boy, I think Budweiser and Nike have gone and put their foot in their mouth. They've overdone it. Nike is overlooking so many true athletes that they could have right now, representing their brand. And like I said, Anheuser-Busch, do you honestly think Dylan Mulvaney has ever even drank a beer, much less an Anheuser-Busch product, a Budweiser, a Bud Light? No. Anyway, I loved Kid Rock's response to Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Travis Tritt, a lot of country music artists are pissed about all this. But I just thought I would give it a mention. Like I said, you wake up every day and you don't know what kind of madness and craziness you're going to wake up to. Every time we turn around, we've just got more and more filicide, parents killing their children. We're just waking up to some huge nightmare every single day. You've got some teenagers involved in a murder down in Florida right now. There's a lot of crazy shit going on in Florida. I don't know what in the hell's going on down there. Bullhorn Betty and JLR need to be holding down the fort down there, because I don't know, we may have to send some reinforcements down there, because there's so much crazy crime going on in Florida. But we're going to talk a little bit about crime here in Arkansas and crime in Idaho. In the Blue Rowland case here in Arkansas, his mother, Ashley Rowland, and her boyfriend, Nathan Bridges, appeared in court this past Monday, April the 3rd. And I had every intention of going to that trial and hearing and all that. And when, the tornadoes blew through and just tore up all over Little Rock, which I would have to travel through to get to Lee County, Arkansas, from where I live. And then I was supposed to put my car in the shop, and my mechanic is working shorthanded and not able to, wasn't able to get my car in at the beginning of the month. And all that. It just didn't work out for me to go, but thankfully, the case has been continued till later this year. And so I will be getting back with you all on that and covering the case of Ashley Rowland and Nathan Bridges, who will be on trial for the murder of 6-year-old Blue Rowland here in Arkansas. We don't want to forget about sweet little Blue Rowland. His case has not hit the mainstream media, the way that others have. But me as a lifelong Arkansan, my Arkansas cases are the ones that are, important to me first and foremost. And so, I certainly don't want to let this little boy go by, without his case being heard and his story being told. And he is just the cutest, sweetest little boy. His sister, Taylor Rowland, I don't have any updates on her. I assume she is, of course, still recovering from all the injuries that she received. Um, but you know, let's just hope that, you know, she is going to be all right, and that Nathan Bridges and Ashley Rowland will pay for what they did to Ashley's kids, Blue and Taylor Rowland, here in Arkansas, in Lee County. You know, trigger warning, to do what they did to these children is just ungodly. I mean, drowning a 6-year-old in a toilet and burying him under the house, and him being deceased for 3 months. And the little boy's biological father and his mother, you know, trying to get somewhere with the police and CPS and welfare checks and all kinds of stuff, and, you know, all this kind of stuff going on. You know, I had wondered when it would hit Arkansas. I mean, not as if it hasn't hit before, but in this whole big spurge of, you know, CPS cases that we've had over these last, you know, few years, with Harmony Montgomery, Summer Wells, Oakley Carlson, the West boys who were adopted and then killed by their adopted parents. You know, we've just got so many of these children who have fallen through the cracks of CPS. And, you know, little Blue Rowland's case happened in December, you know, right around the time that they arrested Bryan Kohberger. And, you know, I just don't want his sweet little face forgotten about. And so, like I said, I will be getting back with y'all on that case when they go back to court. I believe it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. They'll go back to court in September for pretrial motions. Yes, I just counted that on my hands. I always do. And then they'll be going to trial the following month in October, to my understanding, if, you know, if nothing else gets changed up or whatever. So let's talk about Bryan Kohberger for a minute. New information has come to light that Bryan Kohberger took a trophy from the scene of the Idaho 4 murders. Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle, the 4 beautiful Moscow, Idaho, University of Idaho students who were brutally murdered in their off-campus home at 112 King Road. Yes, Bryan Kohberger was one of the things recovered as evidence, is apparently an ID from the house, from the crime scene. And they're calling it the smoking ID. And, you know, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever that Bryan Kohberger should have had an ID from belonging to Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, or Kaylee Gonzalez. So if this is true, and they did find an ID related to one of the Idaho 4 victims in Bryan Kohberger's possession, and to my understanding, he had it hidden. He had it hidden, and in a glove. You know, he's obsessed with these surgical gloves. He wears surgical gloves all the time. I mean, they arrested him wearing surgical gloves. But we don't know who the ID belonged to, which student, which victim, but apparently it belonged to one of them. And, you know, that to me is, you're going to have a hard time explaining that, you know. So I have no doubt that there is going to be so much more that comes out in this case, and so much more of a connection that Bryan Kohberger is going to have to them. Not so much them to him, but, you know, we've already established cyber stalking, and there's apparently going to be evidence that comes out in with that, with him stalking the victims online, you know, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever social media platform he was stalking them from. Again, I go back to the incel thing. It's the only thing that makes sense. And, you know, that's one of the things that they will be able to get off of his hard drive. If he was anywhere on the dark web and involved in any kind of an incel group or incel online chatting and stuff, they'll find it. And, you know, that is the one thing that I've often wondered. And you know, I'm not screwing around with the black web, the dark web. So, you know, where these freaks go to meet, you know, the freaks come out at night, where they come out at on the internet and the dark web, I don't want nothing to do with that shit. So, no, I won't be trying to find any incel groups on the dark web. However, I'm sure that if you know where to go, you can probably find it. So, also, Lori Vallows Daybell. The jury has been selected. All the jurors plus the alternates have been selected, and opening statements are set to begin on Monday, which is tomorrow. And it is expected that her best friend, Melanie, is going to be testifying against her. The judge did rule on Kay and Larry Woodcock and whether they are defined as victims or not, and will they be allowed to sit in the courtroom. The judge did determine that Kay Woodcock is definitely a victim. Now, that's not to diminish Larry Woodcock and him being a victim. He is, you know, JJ's grandfather / uncle. You know, despite whatever the family dynamics are, these people are victims and they are going to be called to testify. But the judge ruled that, you know, Kay Woodcock is biologically blood DNA related to JJ Vallows, and therefore she is considered a victim. They determined that, you know, and like I said, it's not to diminish who he is, but since he has no actual, well, okay, yeah, he has no actual, I had to stop and think about it for a minute. He has no actual blood relation to JJ, because I had to stop and remember, but both Charles, who adopted JJ, and Charles's brother, who is JJ's biological father, are Kay's brothers. So anyway, but they are going to allow them to sit in the courtroom. Not sure when or if Larry Woodcock is going to be called to testify, but now he may not be allowed to sit in the courtroom until after he testifies. But hey, that's okay, because once he testifies and he is excused by the court, then there is nothing Lori Vallows Daybell can do about it, and he can sit in that courtroom all day long. I'm just glad that the judge did rule on the situation and did give Kay the legal that she would be able to sit in the courtroom and listen to every bit of that trial as she deserves to. My heart goes out to these people. This is a nightmare I'd never want to go through, and it's a nightmare. Hello, how are you? Eve Hickam Gurley, Tennessee mom of 4. Hi, Eve. Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. It's good to have you. No family in the world should have to go through this kind of a nightmare. This is just absolutely insane. And I was listening to an interview that Larry Woodcock was doing just recently, and he knows that they've got a long uphill battle, but he looks forward to this trial. He looks forward to judgment, and he and Kay look forward to. Kay especially said she looks forward to looking Lori in the eye, because she can't deny what she's done and what she, allowed to happen to her children. This was nothing but greed and lust and murder. I mean, it's you couldn't write this. No Hollywood producer could write this script. Like, you would have to be so far out there in La La Land to even write this script of all that it has. You've got greed, you've got murder, you've got religion, you've got affairs, you've got doomsday and prophets, and just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But one of the things that Larry Woodcock was talking about was he was talking about what kind of a person Lori is, and her personality, and how, things began to change with Lori. And, he said, I've always liked Lori. She was a good mother to JJ. But we, meaning he and Kay, began to notice things wrong with Lori all the way back in 2017. And they discussed it amongst themselves, concerned, something's not right, something is wrong, and poor Charles, he tried to tell them that something was wrong with Lori. And, I think he managed to get an evaluation done on, and they said, there's nothing wrong with her. We can't do anything with her. She's not, quote, crazy. So he didn't get anything done. And then what happened? Her brother killed him. And, you know, I don't, I believe that that was all a setup. You know, I mean, it saddens me when I hear Tali's story about how she and Charles didn't get along very well. And when she heard them arguing that morning, she comes out of her room with a ball bat. And then the ball bat is what allegedly caused Charles to end up getting shot by Alex Cox, Lori's brother. Alex claims that, you know, Charles was hit him with the ball bat, so he had to shoot him to defend himself. Well, I mean, in my opinion, that was all a setup, I think. And then Lori threw a pool party like, you know, it was no big deal. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's past her bedtime, so I'm sure she's not up. And I just kind of decided to go live just to do these, you know, case chat and updates and on these few things. You know, not a whole lot to talk about. Of course, there'll be much to talk about in the coming weeks when this trial really gets underway with Lori Vallows, Daybell, and it's set to last at least 6 to 8 weeks. So, we might as well sit back and enjoy the ride. But yeah, anyway, Larry Woodcock was talking about Lori Vallows, and, you know, he just said that, you know, she was always a very likable person, but that she is a very narcissistic person. Oh, well, thank you. That she's a very, turn my camera on. I had it on earlier, and then I got to hacking and coughing, couldn't shut up. So, there we go. Hello. Anyway, yeah. He said that, you know, that things begin to change with Lori, and that she's a very narcissistic and very manipulating person. And although we have not seen her shed one tear, he definitely expects her to turn on the waterworks during the trial. He said she's very good at that. So he expects her to put on a full-on Oscar performance. He said she was also always a wannabe actress. So, you know. But we have yet not one time to see her shed a tear. Although Nate Eaton did report that in court the other day when they were telling the jurors that they were going to have to see, you know, photos of the children's bodies and autopsy photos and things like that, that she was seen with a Kleenex, you know, wiping her eyes or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, about time you turn on the waterworks. Like, you know, I have fallen for some shitty ass guys in my life and done some stupid stuff in my life, but I don't know. I just cannot even begin to imagine some guy convincing me that my kids are possessed or that they're a demon or a zombie or and that they have to die. I mean, that's just so bizarre. Oh, I know. Yeah, absolute put on. Absolute put on. She's, yeah, she, but I mean, and the reason why I can recognize some of the things with Lori is, I've been there, done that. I mean, I've been married, divorced, had lots of boyfriends, and I'm single. So, do I have I had problems with not being able to maintain relationships or keep a stable relationship? Yeah. Lori's been married 5 times. And so, she's not good at, let's just say she hasn't, had the best of luck with men. Of course, I don't know if it was so much the men as it was her, but that's just my opinion. Um, but she, to have a man convince you that your children are possessed with impure spirits and demon spirits. Oh, okay. Okay. My oldest daughter's father passed away a few years ago, but I'm technically not a widow, so we were divorced, but um I was there with him when he passed away. So um but yeah, Lori, yeah, I mean, my mind just goes blank when, I'm just like, do what? I mean, I can't believe that she, bought this man's line of crap, but she did. And I mean, I guess it was, they say she first became obsessed with Chad through his books, from reading his books. And then she went to that preparing a people meeting and met him and all. And like, I mean, I don't even see what the big deal about him was. First of all, he's not a great speaker. Of course, I'm not a great speaker either. I've gave a lot of speeches, but I hate to, I can't, I say, too much. And so, but, I mean, to me, I heard his little speech that he gave, and I'm just like, well, he's about as boring as watching paint dry. So, um, but anyway, boy, she was just fascinated with him. So, and then, then conveniently, the minute he saw her, he was like, "Did you know we were married in another life? We were married before." Oh my gosh. Let's all drink the Kool-Aid. Oh, goodness, 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 goodness. So what do you know good, Eve? Anything good? Excuse me. I'm drinking my watered down tea from the restaurant this afternoon. What are your thoughts on Lori? Oh, Chad, yeah. Yeah, he I mean, he's not even good looking. I mean, not to me, he's not. Of course, you either got to be a big burly redneck or a dirty rocker boy. One of the two. There's no in between. And yeah, she is. She's just evil. What do you want? Oh, it's my granddaughter, y'all. Oh, yeah. Y'all have to excuse my potty mouth granddaughter. What?
Is that all? I was going to tell you good night.
Oh, good night. I love you too.
But I'm not going to bed.
But you got to get up and go to school in the morning.
Okay,
So
I want to phone my man.
go to bed. I'm not kidding. Go to bed.
God.
No, you'll knock my stuff down. Oh,
God.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Good night.
I don't love you.
I don't love you either. You mean ass shit. Go away.
You tried to put me in the zoo earlier.
Yeah. I wanted to drop her off at the Little Rock Zoo earlier. Go. Oh. Cardi B has warped her fragile little mind. Okay, back to reality now.
I'm just gonna sit here and watch you.
Oh yeah, he looks like a big ape. But yeah, I mean, he's not that great of a speaker, so but yet he's supposed to be this prophet. And he's supposed to have all these big stories, you know, about meeting Jesus and all right, talking to Jesus and you know and having all these messages and stuff.
I'm just gonna listen to you. I'm just listening.
I'm turning it off. Go.
I'm just listening.
But yeah, he's not even a good speaker. And for somebody that's supposed to be a prophet, you know, supposed to be sharing your stories and you know, that was one of the things that I found peculiar with one of the ladies that had 3 books published with his publishing company, was that she was sharing her stories of near-death experience and you know, her walk over on the other side. And she said he wouldn't share his story or his testimony with her, that he talked very little about it. So that kind of makes you think that, you know, that kind of makes you think that, you know, that he was just full of shit, in my opinion. When it comes to Lori, I cannot, yeah. I got thinking about this the other night, you know, I mean, the last trial like this that I was fully indulged in was Jodi Arias. And, you know, just when I thought that she had driven me nuts and that she was about as evil as they come, no. Lori Vallows makes Jodi Arias look like a saint. Like, she ain't got nothing. Jodi ain't got nothing on Lori. I mean, this... I don't get why does this always come back to Mormon churches? Like, why does all this crazy stuff end up coming back to Mormon churches, or supposed to be practicing Mormons? In my opinion, they both. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, Chad still faces the death penalty unless there's any sudden major change in his trial. He's still looking at the possible death penalty. They had to take the death penalty off the table with Lori because, you know, with all of the stuff that went wrong with, you know, not getting the evidence to her defense in time, and with the mitigator to be able to go over it and all that, and because she had not waived her right to a speedy trial, you know, the prosecution was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and so they just, you know, rather than lose it all, they just decided they took the death penalty off the table. But as it stands right now, Chad can still receive the death penalty, and I hope he gets the death penalty. I mean, it's what he deserves. I mean, this man manipulated people, lied to people, conspired to murder people. We don't know if he didn't do any of the actual murdering or not. Um, who else would have been there to kill Tammy? You know, his wife, Tammy Daybell, yeah, he had to have been the one that done that and made it somehow look like natural causes. You know, I don't really know how he did it, but anyway. And then, you know, conspiracy to commit Charles's murder. And I want to know what really happened to Alex, because that whole thing baffles me. I don't believe that he died of natural causes suddenly during, you know, the midst of all this at such a convenient time. I believe it was was it the day before they found the bodies, or I'm trying to remember. I want to say that he died like right before they found the bodies of the children. I don't know. I need to get my timeline on all that down and everything. So yeah, I hate that they had to take the death penalty off, but you know, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how much they actually are able to charge her with. I mean, not charge her with, but convict her of. You know, will they get her, because she's got conspiracy, two counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and then for Tammy and Charles, and then of course 2 counts of murder for the children, JJ and Tylee, and there's she's got a theft charge, I believe, for a vehicle. I want to say the vehicle that uh, Charles drove, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of charges. They both face a whole boatload of charges. So, you know, it's going to be interesting what they will be able to actually get her on, you know, with the conspiracies and, you know, conspiracy to commit and all that. On Alex, I think Lori, Chad, and his wife. What do you mean? Oh, his wife, meaning Alex's wife. I was like, wait a minute, Tammy didn't do anything. um, oh, yes, yeah, yeah, there, you know, all that was just all so weird. Like all of them got married. Like Alex had just married that woman, and Lori and Chad got married, and then the niece. There's Melanie Gibb, the friend, and then there's Melanie, the niece, and she had gotten divorced and gotten remarried. So it was like all these people jumped in a rush to get married in this, you know, religious cult thing, and then, you know, they're all conspiring to murder their exes and everything. And then, I mean, like I said, you couldn't, Steven Spielberg could not have written this script. I mean, hell, Morgan Freeman couldn't have come up with this on his best day. I think they did too. That's the only thing that makes sense, Eve, is that they poisoned Alex. That's the only thing to me that makes sense. Because, I mean, he just all of a sudden just started croaking one day. And, I mean, that was it. So, yeah, I think they ought to. Of course, they probably won't be in any hurry to do it. But, I mean, if you conspire with someone to commit murder, and then you don't want to leave any, you've got like a trio, and you see it all the time in these TV shows and like CSI and Law and Order and all that stuff, where you've got three people in a conspiracy together, and then they all, the middleman gets took out, and then you might have two left, you might have one left, but you want to use people to your advantage to do your dirty work, and then you're going to get rid of them so they can't ever testify against you. So I mean, I think they did kill Alex. I do. I've always thought that. Yeah, it is. It's a weird and crazy case. It's like I said, I didn't think it could get any weirder than, all the religion and, you know, sex videos and all that kind of stuff, and photos and stuff with Jodi Arias and pop rocks and all that good stuff. I didn't think it get any crazier than, and I never thought this case was going to get this crazy. Because when Debbie and I were running the missing persons Facebook page long before I came to YouTube and started my podcast and all that, we were big advocates for JJ and Tylee, and I figured that Lori had them off at some kind of doomsday camp, some kind of a, like, I thought maybe their little cult had some kind of a bunker or something, or whatever, similar, like their own little community or somewhere where they were going to go and stay for all this doomsday stuff that was going to happen, that they believed was going to happen, which is an ultimate sin against God, because in the Bible it states that you are not to even try to guess when Jesus is going to return. You're not, God will be mad if you even try to guess when that's going to happen. Now, I myself do believe that we are in the end times, so to speak. According to Revelations, I believe that we are in the end times, but I mean, I can't predict when Jesus is going to return. And, no one can, not even Chad Daybell. When I look at Chad, he makes my eyes hurt. Oh, I know. He just sits there. He does. He looks like a damn ape sitting at that defense table. And Lori, with all her smirking and all her, and all her faces is, yeah, that's what that, but I never imagined, or maybe I just did not want to let my mind go there, but I did not think they had actually killed them kids. I mean, when it came up that the last time the kids had been seen, or at least the last time Tylee had been seen, was at, was it Yosemite or the park that they went to with Alex. That was the last. I thought, oh dear God, did he push her off a cliff, or or what? Now I did let my mind go there, but I mean, oh, absolutely, yes, it's evil. Like I said, we're waking. We, I don't know if it's because now we have 24 hours a day news, and we can get the news from wherever we want it from in the world. But like, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have all this. So, I mean, has filicide always been this bad, or has it gotten much worse? I mean, I've been following true crime since 1987, and we saw the rise in the 90s of you know parents killing their children. We had Susan Smith. We had well, they're not guilty, but John and Patsy Ramsey were believed to have killed John Bonet. Darlie Routier is a case that I still follow, and I actually don't believe that Darlie Routier is guilty. I'm not sold on her being guilty. And she's having some more DNA testing done in her case and stuff. But we saw that rise in the 90s of parents killing kids. And if you remember the case of Amy Grossenberg, where her and her boyfriend went and had that baby in a hotel room, and just all sorts of stuff. But ever since then, ever since Susan Smith, we had Andrea Yates. That was a case that I followed very heavily, and she was severely mentally ill. But we haven't seen a case like this. I mean, this falls in line with, like I said, Jonestown. This falls in line with Jim Jones and the Heaven's Gate, and these cult type religious deaths. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, filicide is at an all-time high. And it's every single day there's a new case. And I just don't know. I don't know what's going on with people, but the world has gone mad. And if you don't believe that we are living out in Revelations right now, then I don't know what to call it. But I fully believe that we are in the end times. Just my beliefs and Chad's beliefs are a little different. Yeah, we only had the local news, right? We didn't know what really was going on in other states and stuff. I mean, you had to be like a really big case in order to, make the mainstream media. Now we have YouTubers that are taking small cases and bringing them into the mainstream media. We're the ones that are blowing a lot of those small cases up. But unless it was just something, big and major, like my first televised trial was OJ Simpson. And yeah, I was watching that during the day, and then I had to go work all night at a bar. So, um, but yeah, it's it's crazy what's, all these mass school shootings, and it's just some kind of chaos, and we're dealing with this fentanyl overdosing stuff right now. um yeah, like the Jim Jones cult. Yeah, it I watched a documentary on that here a couple of weeks ago, I guess, because I hadn't listened to all of it in a long time, and I learned some stuff that I didn't actually know about. I've actually spoke to a woman who was a survivor of Jonestown. A friend of mine who used to do a radio show on uh, what is that radio platform? Anyway, and spoke with a lady that had been a victim and made it out alive of Jonestown. Um, just like I said, I can't imagine. I mean, we all have certain religious beliefs, and I have my own religious beliefs and things like that, but religion religion somehow trying to convince me to take my own life or to take my kids' lives is completely out of the question. Like, I got better sense than that. I mean, sometimes we all want to hold on to something, and believe in something. But, that's just absurd. We did not have internet. We didn't have cable. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. 3 channels. And we were the remote. The kids were the remote. Oh, you watched the O.J. Simpson trial? Man, that was a mess. But yeah, but it's, I didn't realize that, these cults were were still going on. I mean, the thing is that they don't come to light until something, major happens. Um, Unfortunately. But and I don't, I'm not the Mormon community, and I'm not, of the preparing a people, or any of that kind of community. So I don't know how much um, this whole thing with Chad Daybell has affected that community, and those people. In Even Melanie Gibbs believed in Chad, and she there were things about Chad and Lori that I think that they did that she didn't necessarily agree with, but it's kind of like they were her friends, and like, okay, well, that's what you believe, or, whatever you say. Oh, you follow the Summer Wells case too? Yes, yeah. We've been having a lot of good talks over on Remain Calm's channel about the Summer Wells case, and going back over all the evidence and stuff. And I would rather just like go back over the evidence of what we have and see what we might have missed. And there was a lot of stuff that I had missed because there's just so many of those channels that I won't watch. And Mary has watched those channels. So I've learned a lot that I didn't know from her. But as far as, you know, listening to what's going on right now with Don Wells going on all these different channels, I don't even give it my time. You know, I don't go on those channels. I don't go on White Boy Lockdown Radio. I don't go on Critters on the Farm or Prayer Garden or any of those channels that he goes on. I have no reason to go on those channels, and I have no reason to listen to him because all that's coming out of his mouth is lies and bullshit. So, oh, when Chris Watts, yes. Boy, that was that was another Scott Peterson situation. And why he thought he was going to get away with that, I have no idea. He was not thinking that. Chris Watts was not thinking any of that through. He did not think any of that through. He just, I don't know. I think when Shanann came home from that trip, he just sort of, you know, he was in hot and heavy with what's her face, and he just felt like he had to do it and get it over with. But how he ever thought he was going to get away with that mess is just. Y'all check out my rock candy I got today. It's a big rock candy. I've always loved rock candy ever since I was a kid. I got this one today at Cracker Barrel. I have to say today's service at Cracker Barrel was shitty. They didn't put anything on my granddaughter's hamburger. She ordered a bacon cheeseburger. All she got was a cheeseburger with no mayo, no lettuce, no tomatoes, no bacon, no nothing. My daughter got hash browns instead of hash brown casserole. They never brought us our appetizers. It was a mess. Everybody and their brother trying to eat for Easter. Normally we cook on Easter, but we kind of forgot about Easter this year. So, well, I believe that's about all I have today, really, to talk about. Like I said, I'm anxious to get going on the Lori Vallows Daybell case, and anxious to hear this evidence start coming out. And I'm anxious to see if she's going to end up taking the stand or not. That's going to be really interesting. Although she is the kind of defendant, not real sure if you want her on the stand or not. And Lord God, you sure don't want 18 days of testimony like we got out of Jodi Arias. God, she was on the stand for 18 days. I live alone. I'm retired. I watch. Oh, okay. So you're like me. You're a church crime junkie. I've been doing this since 1987. I was alone. I ate a TV dinner. Girl, I live on TV dinners. I live alone too, so yeah, I eat a lot of TV dinners. I ate a lot of the the banquet, I like the Salisbury steak banquet TV dinners. Those are my favorite. But yeah, I'm anxious to see if she ends up taking the stand, because that'll really be interesting. But it depends on whether her defense attorney wants to see if she can somehow connect with the jury and see if they can, you know, what she needs to do is she needs, which there's no way to explain allowing someone to kill your children because some dude told you that they're possessed with some kind of evil spirit or some crazy shit. There's no excuse for that. But she's going to have to come up with some kind of reasoning for all this. Like that those jurors can somehow think that, okay, you know, but like I said, there's never any excuse for murder. And I think that, you know, the jury's going to clearly be able to see once all the evidence is put out there that these people were killing all these people and then going to live off of their money, that their government money that they get. They were planning on living off Charles Vallows' life insurance money until, you know, Lori got the rude awakening to find out he signed all his money over to Kay, his sister, and then thought they were going to live off Tylee's money that she got from her father dying. And then they thought they were going to, you know, live off JJ's, you know, money that they get for him for having, you know, learning disability or being autistic. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of benefits he gets or anything. And then living off life insurance money from Tammy Daybell. You know, they were just going to kill all these folks and pretend to be Jesus-loving prophets. And we're going to carry you all to the promised land. Let's go, kids. Follow us. You know? Nuts. Cuckoo, cuckoo. I mean, but yeah, she's going to have to somehow explain herself. Like I said, I don't know how she's going to do it. And, you know, the atmosphere out there is completely different. You know, I mean, I live in the South. I live in Arkansas. I live in a Southern Baptist community. You know, my family, we were all Baptists, all raised in Southern Baptist church, you know. I don't know anything different. So, but I know that, you know, out there, when, you know, when it comes to these religious things, that, you know, the whole, that area of the, you know, United States, there, it tends to be a lot of, you know, Mormon faith and following. So it'll be anxious, you know, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how much of this whole religious part of the story that any of these jurors buy. But I think that Lori is going to have to somehow explain why all this happened and how she allowed all this to happen and why she allowed all this to happen to her own children. Innocent, defenseless children that she could have given JJ back to. She could have given them children to somebody else. Plain and simple. she didn't have to kill them kids or allow anyone else to kill them kids, especially her brother or her lover or whatever the hell, you know. Just, she should have given JJ back to Kay and them. Oh, you live about 45 minutes from the Wells. Okay. I don't know if there's going to be anything planned for the 2-year anniversary of Summer's disappearance, but I would actually like to try and come up there for that. If anything ends up being done, somebody's going to have to shit or get off the pot in that case. And that includes Ronnie Lawson, TBI, and the Wells. Because I'm tired of I'm tired of all this crap. I want to get down to, all right, where is Summer Wells? What happened to that child? Don't want to talk about nothing else but what happened to that child. Or what could have possibly happened to that child. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to talk about. But, they all want to talk about a bunch of other crap that, don't amount to a hill of beans. And Ronnie Lawson, he don't seem to want to get off his ass to do a damn thing. And I don't have much any more faith in the TBI either. I mean, they haven't shown me nothing. It's going on 2 years that baby's gone. And absolutely nothing's been done. So, but I'm going to get off here. It is 11 o'clock and I am tired. It's been a long day. So, but I want to thank you for stopping by, Eve. It was good to have you. Nice having somebody to chat with. I didn't know how many people would even come in this late or this last minute or anything, but yeah, definitely. But like I said, I want to thank you for coming by, and if you love all things true crime and this is your first time here at the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, help me get into the algorithm. And with that said, our motto here at the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast is to be the change that you wish to see in this world. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Peace out, everybody. Good night.
What's happening, y'all? If you're looking for a fab true crime podcast, then get up off of that thing and boogie on over to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, where we give you the lowdown on all things true crime. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Catch you on the flip